since this deals with trauma, I thought this would kind of like help bridge the gap, especially if someone's watching it and it triggers them, then maybe self-reminder of, self-love. And that even when there's hateful comments, like about stuff you go through, or even if you tell someone and you go through it, that you're valid. Emotional or psychological abuse is kind of hard to notice when you grow up and that's your normal, and I think that's what people outside of that environment don't understand, is people growing up in it, we don't see it, we don't realize, we just think, oh, that's whoever's doing it to us, that's their normal, they're just this, make up excuses, right? Because we love them. I mean, most likely you the person who's hurting you, you love them. What's some emotional and psychological abuse look like for me from my mom? And that's the hardest thing, is like you weren't really taught what it looked like for your parents. You could see it in like, boyfriend-girlfriend relationships and stuff like that, but not parents. For me, it was stuff like not validating my feelings. It was everything was around her and she was the center. It was about how she felt. Everyone in the household, you had to cater to her. You had to make sure she was okay. If you tried to even say something that was about you, how you felt, it wouldn't go well. It wouldn't be reciprocated with any empathy or anything or acknowledgement. You basically had to hold in however you felt. She had like a really explosive temper. So if she was really mad at you, break your stuff, like punch a hole next to your head, punch a hole wherever, broke a lot of my stuff. If she was mad at my sister, broke her stuff. Nowhere was safe. It was where, to the point, if she was mad at you, it didn't matter if you learned very quickly not to say anything, because no matter what you said, it didn't matter. You would get met kind of with childish behavior where it was like, no, you stop talking, it's me, or, like, you get it, I'm sure. But it was like very much outrage to the point where if you tried to leave, to get away from it, like go upstairs to distance yourself, hope they cool down, she would chase you, like stomp up the stairs, chase you, try to break open your door. You do not lock that door. Break it open or bang and just scream and yell at you. You didn't feel safe if you heard a certain creak when she's mad. I know my sister went through that too, but that's just some examples. It's not like she touched, like, physically hit, except for when I was a kid, but that's different. But like, so that kind of made it where, oh no, there's no way this person who says they love me and is supposed to take care of me and stuff, there's no way that they're hurting me because they're not physically hurting me. So I know I didn't realize for the longest time until like 2021 really, where I was officially told by like a counselor and stuff, no, that's really toxic, you gotta get out of there. So gaslighting, I'm sure a lot of people heard that term. There's a lot of gaslighting. Can't confront, like not being like rude, like it's all your fault, like a simple conversation cannot have, there is no way in the world there will be acknowledgement of something they did wrong or that they said. It will somehow always be you at fault, and that just hurts more. Or they kind of build this world where it's completely different from the real events. And it's just like, where'd you pull that out of? Or they'll turn around and say, you hate me, or anything like that. Or like, I must be such a bad person then, or all this. Mostly, I know for me, it was just like blaming me. There's never any acknowledgement of anything they did wrong. Even when she had literally screamed in my face and wouldn't move while I was having a panic attack and couldn't breathe and said, can you please leave? Because I cannot breathe, I'm having a panic attack, and you're screaming in my face. And she said, no, this is me, this is who I am. So when you have that kind of erratic behavior, it's really hard to deal with, especially when they don't want to take accountability that what they did and how they acted was wrong, and it did in fact hurt you and scar you. I did post one just the other day about financial abuse. That is also another form. I don't know if a lot of people really seen it, but basically if they hold any sort of your own money, so you can't leave, that's financial abuse. Another common one I know I got was when they always would threaten self-harm for anything they either didn't like, or if they felt like they did something really, really bad, where they knew they did something really, really bad and they could see it, but instead of trying to say they're sorry or anything like that, or work on themselves, they turn around and say how they want to unalive themselves, and you're the only thing keeping them from doing that, to keep you in this like weird twisted like feeling like, oh my gosh, if I do anything, if I leave, then they're gonna do what they said, they're gonna hurt themselves, and then you feel guilty even though you shouldn't, because it's not on you, it's not your fault. If she ever sensed that I was going to try and leave, for example, she would always threaten self-harm, unaliving herself, or she would always threaten that she would go back to drinking, and that would leave my sister with her drinking, and then my sister would be upset and freaked out, because then she'd be like, no, you can't leave because I don't know what mom's gonna do or how she's gonna behave, and I'll be all alone with her. And it's like, but that shouldn't be on me, and if you ever went through that, that shouldn't be on you. And it's easier said than done, I know. Like, even posting this, it took a lot of work, because after hearing it, it took a lot of years to fight that, like, no, they would never do that, they're this, and this, because it's been drilled so much by them that your brain repeats it, right? So it's like, but they love you because they did this, they wouldn't do that, so you kind of have to untrain yourself, growing up, on what they taught you and what little like earworms have been dug in. It's still a little hard, and making this is still nerve-wracking, because I know me personally, I didn't realize I had like a fear of my mom, like especially growing up, seeing how violent she could be towards me and others. And I'm not gonna say the others part, because I don't need like her going to jail or something. Yeah, so I didn't realize I was actually afraid of my mom until conversation, and they're like, well, do you feel safe? And I was like, oh, no, I guess not. If like I have a fear that I might say something, or she might like something and show up at my door and try and bust in or something. Oh, that affected me. People pleasing without realizing, kind of like any tonal change or change in facial expressions I pick up, and then I wonder, oh my gosh, are they mad at me based on a voice inflection, or like their eyebrow raise or something like that. I think a lot of people who go through that are like that, and then it could be seen as masking, because of the trauma you went through, where you had to try and make sure you're always appeasing that person. And and for the longest time, still am struggling with figuring out how I feel, because I mean, that's new still. I still don't know. Comments will be off just because people are, eggplants. So I don't need any of that in my life with something so personal and trying to be open.